The glass is already broken today on Fortitude through Stoicism, and this is my 365-day journey of implementing the ancient philosophy of Stoicism into the life of this modern masculine man. Okay. Making some adjustments here so my camera's decent. There we go. This one is interesting because I got to the end of this lesson and there's a reference about snow. And here I am buried in a bunch of snow in Cleveland, so I actually chuckled. 3 weeks now. 3 weeks I've been sick. And it's interesting. I'm going to take a little side note here because I had a mindset shift. It was actually last night. And what happened during this illness is I lost a lot of weight. I went from 238, down to below 225, which is the lowest I've been. I don't even think I got that low during 75 hard, to be honest with you. Lost a lot of fat, a lot of water weight, and yeah, a lot of muscle. And so what happened is over the weekend, I was trying to eat everything I could. I mean, cakes, give it to me. I mean, we went to the deli, we went to the bakery, and we loaded up on some stuff. I ate pizza, I ate subs, I ate all the things that I normally don't eat because I was panicking about this weight loss. And it's really closely tied to this. In another one of my lessons I read, I was grasping to the muscle and the gains that I made. But yet I was also trying to cut and lose weight too. So it's interesting because I looked at this as a loss. And then last night I was ordering my dinner and I was like, oh man, we're going to get all the bad stuff. And I said, wait a minute. You're looking at this as a loss. I see this as a benefit. Man, you just cut a bunch of weight. You got a reset. Man, this is a gift. Hold on to this. Again, grasping, but what I realize is trying to get back what I lost instead of appreciating what I have. I realized, man, I just got shredded in like a week. Like that was the best cut I've ever done. Like it normally would take me 3 months to cut all that weight. And here I did it in a week. Don't like the method, but the result is I have to accept it. And we're talking about acceptance here. So today, the quote by Seneca: "Fortune falls heavily on those for whom she's unexpected. The one always on the lookout easily endures." So there's an old fable about a Zen master. Oh, look, here we are. We're starting to tiptoe into that Buddhism world again, right? There's a story about a Zen master who had a prized, beautiful cup. But the master would repeat to himself in his mind, this cup is already broken. Now, he enjoyed the cup. He used the cup. He showed it off to visitors. But in his mind, it was already broken. And one day, it actually did break. And he said simply, of course. This is how Stoics think too, according to Ryan Holiday. Now, there's another true story about actually Epictetus and a lamp. Now, Epictetus, very much like me, never locked up his house. And so his expensive lamp was stolen. Now, when Epictetus replaced it, he replaced with a cheaper one so he could be less attached to it. And if it was stolen again, so mote it be, right? This is where the parallels to Buddhism come in, because Buddhists believe in there's always suffering, right? Life is suffering. You have pleasure and pain. You have the dichotomy, right? You win, you lose. There's always some type of suffering, and what we're doing is we're grasping onto those things, and that grasping onto things is what leads to this suffering and this torment that we do to ourselves. So I continue. Devastation. That feeling that we're absolutely crushed and shocked by an event is a factor of how unlikely we consider that event in the first place. So, for example, Ryan Holiday's talking about the snow. He says we don't get upset when it snows because we know it's winter and it's supposed to snow. And like me, I live in Tampa, so we don't have snow. So I get off the plane, I'm like, WTF, this is fucking bullshit, right? I'm trudging through this much snow. Your window, you can't see out the window. It's cold, it makes a mess, everything's dirty. I really should have anticipated that because I looked at the weather. I knew it was snowing when I got here, but still there was a little bit of a So I'm going to go into how I apply this, right? The glass is already broken. I live my life by a very simple philosophy. There is everything in my house I can walk away from. Everything in my house I can walk away from. I'm completely detached. I have a couple weeks of clothes. I have an A and a B week. Business and casual, A and B week. I have my office stuff. They're things, they're possessions, right? I don't lock my doors. And I really don't care, right? I want to be as detached to those things as I possibly can. And I didn't just get here like, oh, I'm a good Stoic. No. I got here after all of my years of these moves that I was making. I was packing this shit, bringing this stuff with me, and I realized it was really my book collection. I had a massive book collection. Man, that shit's heavy. It's a pain in the ass to pack. It's a pain in the ass to transport. And when I left Pennsylvania circa 2019, I threw away my entire library. Now, I could have donated, I could have done a lot of other things, but it was at that moment I said, I am no longer attached to these things. I don't want these things. So I detached myself and I threw those things out. And you know, down the road, I said, man, I could have given those away. I could have done some other things, but no regret, because honestly, it's a very freeing feeling not being attached to these things, because then there is no loss, right? Excuse me. And I reflect on a time when I was in Pennsylvania and when I was really starting my recovery. This is right after I got out of the VA, this is early on. I was working a consulting job during the day, serving businesses. And to get out of my hole, and I had child support, and again, money was really rough because their legal fees were out the ass, and my ex, was relentless. So I had legal fees, court fees, family court. It was brutal. It was a tsunami. And so I was working a night job as a bartender at a high volume martini bar in a casino, and I was always one of the first ones there towards the night shift, so I'd park right at the top of the parking lot, And one night, after my shift, I went up to the parking lot to get my car, and I looked, and it wasn't there. It's odd. Well, by the time I got out of work, it was late in the morning, and most everyone in the casino had gone, so I actually saw my car waiting on the other side of the parking lot. I'm saying, man, I know I didn't park over there. So I walk over there and I look at my car, and the seats are all messed up. It's all crumped up inside. I opened the door and I almost threw up because it smelled so bad, like cigarette smoke, and I don't smoke. And there was no keys, and I was like, oh, that's great. And I happened to notice the keys in the parking lot like 15 feet away. I'm like, oh, there we go. What a gift, right? I wasn't upset that the car was stolen. I wasn't overly annoyed the car was returned. And I reflect on that because I wanted to preserve that moment. All things in life. I have relentlessly and ruthlessly prepared myself to be unattached to the things that I have. And that's why I've really focused on my character, because I realize all these worldly possessions, you could lose them at any time. But it was the intangibles that they couldn't take away from me. It was the character that they couldn't take away from me. So I went to work on my character. And so what I call that is my armor, right? My armor. And over the years, my armor's gotten thicker. It's gotten bigger. It's gotten some dings in it, right? It's got some scratches in it because, every day is a battle. And I don't want a set of shiny armor, because that just tells you someone who has been untested in battle, the world, right? Mine is stained. It is bloody. It is beat up. but it endures because that is my focus. I don't need the things in my life, and even with the people, I don't cling on to people anymore. I revert to my character, because if my character is strong enough, I will not lose the right people in my life. I'm going to repeat that. If my character is strong enough, I will never lose the right people in my life. Pause. Alternatively, if my character is strong enough, I will also lose the wrong people in my life. That's the win. What they do is they realize where the standard is. And they realize that they're left wanting. They can never achieve the standards that I set. And that's okay. That's okay. There are some people in this world that have reserved themselves to the level of mediocrity or worse. That's okay. It's not my place to judge those people. I certainly am not going to cling to those people, right? So in all things, I have things that I'm fond of, right? I have things like my multiple iPad setups that I use to do my profession. But I've divested myself of my worldly possession, my Harleys and the things, and I don't need them or want them because I don't want them to have control over me. Possessions are merely another master. I have no master except for my own free will and my own character, my own guiding light, my own guiding principles. So for me, I don't lock my doors. I also don't recommend entering my doors because on the other side, you will find me waiting. I don't lock my vehicles. I leave my keys in the car. If someone feels the need to steal it, well, apparently they needed it much more than I do. There are other vehicles. That's why they have insurance. It may be an inconvenience, but more of an inconvenience is always clinging on to the things that are external, that we can't control. And this is even people, right? I did this early, early as a man, when I didn't possess the level of confidence that I do. I would grab onto the people that I was in a relationship with and almost smother them for fear of losing them. Maybe it stems back to my abandonment triggers as a child, right? Or my rejection triggers from childhood. But the evolution, the work has led me to let that go. If someone wants to leave my life, I realize that is not a reflection on me. That is a reflection on them. And I have compassion and pity for them because my life is committed to a life of discipline. My life is committed to a life of progress. My life is committed to a path. And that is not an easy path. It is a very hard path. And most people do not have the intestinal fortitude to walk that path. And that is okay. That is okay. But what you realize is the people that will walk that path with you and that stay consistent for year after year after year, those are the people, right? And you don't have to wrap your arms around them and squeeze them and hold them and prevent them from leaving. They will walk next to you for eternity. So I love this lesson. The glass is already broken. All my stuff that I possess is already used. If someone needs it, they can have it. If it breaks, I'll get new stuff, or I'll repair it, or I'll replace it. My favorite suit blew the balls out of my suit. So I had them repaired. This is the thing. And what I've realized is I don't have the devastating losses anymore. Do I lose? Fuck yeah. It's part of life. I love my losses. Lesson. But they're not devastating anymore. They're enlightening now. Before it crushed me. Lost a job maybe, right? Lost a car during a hurricane. Didn't give a shit. You know why? Because now I drive a different car every single weekend. And it's cheaper. It's fucking cheaper. So, if we look at things in our life, the glass, half empty or half full, let's consider it already broken. It's already unserviceable. So, if I leave this one at a client, I mean, it's not going to break. I don't think. It's pretty good. Yeti. But if I leave my truth cup, truth is the key. If I leave this cup somewhere, it's just a cup. It's just a cup. There are other cups. Nothing makes this one special. I'm not attached to this cup. It's a good cup. It works. I love it. I love to show off the truth symbol. But if I don't have this cup, I get another cup. Even a water bottle will work. How about that shit? And what that does is that's freeing. It's freeing. There's no weight. There's no burden. There's peace, tranquility, acceptance. That is a gift. When you can get to that level of enlightenment, I'm going to call it, because that's what they call it in Buddhism. I don't know what the hell you call it in Stoicism. I really don't know. But if you get to that level, you've arrived. You've arrived. When you can't lose the game anymore, there's no anxiety. There's no fear. When you can't lose the game, I already won. I already won my day. Already happened. Got up, moved my body. Spent some time studying Buddha. Did some meditation. Now I'm doing my Stoic study time. I've connected with the people that I love. So mo to be. My day is already won. Whatever happens from here is merely me enjoying the present moment, being mindful about the day, being in the present. I don't care what happens tomorrow. Doesn't matter. Today is my day. I'm going to experience it. I'm going to be present. I'm going to endure, and I'm certainly not going to be devastated by a loss of a cup. And on that, shower time.